Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody around the world, and welcome to the European HCS fall season. My name is Sims, and boy, are we back in the arena for some fantastic Spartan on Spartan action. Once again, as ever, I do have my two wonderful compadres at the desk joining me, Mr. Daniel Gaskin and Harry Channon. Gents, how the hell are we feeling?
Pretty good, actually. I mean, Last week was excellent, and I think going off the back of that, we've now set the pace for this season.
I'm a little bit ill, I won't lie. But other than that, I'm looking forward to some good Halo games. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Nothing better than a Game 5, I've heard, is the key of feeling a little bit down, Harry.
Well, there we go. Let's get some Game 5s underway.
That's the key. That's what we're looking for. Once again, guys, welcome along. It's a pleasure to have you joining us here on this wonderful Wednesday evening, live from the heart of Leicester. Honestly, it's going to be a mad night. This is where teams will start to kind of set the pace and set the tone of the league and really find a footing on where they're going to end up, hopefully, or maybe not so hopefully as the case may be, at the end of the season. Let's take a look at the format and show you guys exactly how this entire fall season will be played out. Nothing changes compared to the summer season, but you know what? Let's review it anyway and show you guys exactly what we're going to be running for. We will see top 6 teams from Europe competing in the league. Once again, they are the same teams, a couple of changes here and there, but the same teams from the last summer season as everybody did survive. All teams play each other twice during the season. The top 4 teams advance to the seasonal finals, but unfortunately, 5th and 6th place, those bottom 2 will fall down to the relegation, and they will play the top 2 open circuit teams. Let's take a look at the teams then, as we are now talking about them. In the red corner, I believe we're going to be going to the red side, it is indeed Fab Esports, Respectful, Moz, Jimbo, and 2 Foxy. We see Xmen, Anima, Lunny, Ramirez, and Chalky, and Team Vibe, Snaky, Cristola, Snipe Drone, and Septic. Over in the blue side, we will of course see 3 other teams fighting for survival. Team Infused will be Batchford, Kimbo, Flux, and Havoc. Prophecy will be 57, 20, Vexus, and Flames. And finally, the French gods that are Pulse Gaming, SLG, Cali, Punisher, and Fragger. As we are coming off Wednesday, only one day stream, let's show you guys exactly what went down last Thursday in the European Pro League. Now, boys, this is an interesting one. Harry, Pulse Gaming taking on Team Vibe. 2-3, Game 5.
Yeah, we saw Pulse last week. They put up a really great fight, and in the end actually took down Prophecy at 3-0. That was on our mainstream. The second day they went up against Vibe. Their first real test of the season. Took 2 games off them. It went to a Game 5. Apparently it was a very close Game 5 as well, Dan.
Yeah, it was a 50-46 on Plaza Slayer, so it's another one of those nail biters, and it's going to be hard to swallow, I think, for Pulse, but there's a lot for them to take from that, and moving forward, knowing how strong Vibe have been, they can definitely see themselves getting to that final placement of the top 4.
They looked incredible at the end of the summer season, kicking off the fall, looking to set the pace, and this time round make it into the finals. Let's take a look down at Xmen and Prophecy. That ended in a 3-0. Anything to add to that? Is that kind of all she wrote, so to speak?
Prophecy made a game of it during the Capture the Flag game types, but the Slayer was 50-36, Strongholds was 100-52, so they were severely outclassed, it would seem. A lot needs to change for them if they are going to be making their way even close to finals.
And then finally at the bottom we did see Team Infused getting 3-0'd by Fab, and Fused unfortunately ending on a 2-0 for week number 1. The difference is, can they change this up in week number 2? Let's have a look at today's schedule and see if they can make something happen. They're actually up for game number 1 against Xmen. Harry, this is an interesting matchup for these 2 teams.
Yeah, it really is, especially for Infused, because if you look at their record in the league at the moment, they are 0-2. They have no wins and 2 losses, but the 2 losses have come to the top 2 teams in the league at the moment, Fab and Vibe. So this is going to be a real test for Infused. This is going to be the real benchmark as to where they are in the league. Xmen obviously going to be fighting for top 4 alongside Infused as well, so it's going to be an interesting matchup for match number 1.
Match number 2 will go to Fab versus Pulse Gaming. Both captains here, Respectful, and of course SLG, extremely good friends. Fab coming in as your summer season champions. Pulse looking to really set the pace though, and honestly, the question I want to ask you, Dan, is, can Pulse take down Fab?
I think it's going to be a fiery one, and I think it's going to come down to map choices and vetoes. If Pulse can get some maps they're used to and they favour, then yeah, why not? They've been looking really strong. They took Vibe to a Game 5. There's no reason why they can't do the same to Fab.
And then finally at the bottom for our last match of the evening, we will see Prophecy taking on Team Vibe. Prophecy, unfortunately, sitting down at the bottom of the league table right now. They want to try and put a few points on the board and move themselves up out of that danger red zone down there in 6th place. I mean, I'm just going to put the feelers out there, guys. For me, that kind of looks like everything she wrote. Do you generally agree with that one?
Yeah, I think, as I touched upon before, that Infused kind of win-loss ratio isn't the greatest. I mean, they had to play the two best teams, arguably, in the league so far. So, looking forward to the Xmen match today. That's going to be our first match on stream. But Prophecy, again, alongside Infused, yet to take a game so far this season.
It's going to be an awesome one. Seriously, looking forward to it here at the casting desk. I mean, generally, I kind of touched on it earlier on. This is where teams start to pull apart from the pack, so to speak. I think it's fair to say we at the table discussed this earlier on. We kind of know who is our top two. I think we kind of settled on definitely Vibe and Fab are up there.
100%.
Now, this is where people want to say, okay, we can't take these. Let's say you don't want to say it. You can't take these two down. Anything can happen. But it's the fight for third and fourth place. This is where the people really set the tone, really get their knees in, and see if they can survive relegation. Let's take a look at our first matchup on screen today. It's going to be an awesome one. Fabi taking on Xmen. Anything to add to this matchup?
Not sure this is correct. I'm pretty sure it's Xmen versus Infused up first.
Yes, that is actually correct. I do apologize about that. Unless things have changed in the background and we don't know about it, this may be potentially the wrong matchup. We'll get confirmation in the air just a second, but let's take a look at, generally talk about the matches that we do actually have coming up today, Harry.
Yep.
Obviously, Fabi still trying to cement themselves coming into this and being the fall season champions. They want to be that. They want to have a back-to-back championship. For me, Europe's kind of got a little bit closer together. Certainly Vibe are on there. They're on the tails.
Yeah, they most certainly are. And you can see on screen at the moment the first match of the day has actually been updated. It is Xmen taking on Infused. Good to know, I'm paying attention.
Yeah, well done on that one, actually.
I'm here,
That's why you're here. I'll read what's on screen. You read what's on paper. We'll take that one, my friend.
But Xmen versus Infused is another really intriguing kind of matchup, because if you look at the way the league kind of pans out at the moment, Infused down at the bottom 0-2, but as we touched upon before, once again they've had to play arguably the two best teams in the league, whereas Xmen are 1-1. If Infused can take this, it's going to be both Xmen and Infused on a 1-2 record. So this is pretty much a must win for Infused if they want to see themselves in the top 4 at the end of the season.
All right, then let's take a look at the highest seed of Xmen and show you guys at home the roster who will be playing out across this red-sided team. Anima, Lunny, Ramirez, and Chalky. One name to note on that screen that you will not recognize from the summer season. It is German player Anima. Dan, thoughts on this roster, please?
I was surprised by them in week 1. I was kind of calling them out, saying I'm not sure how they're going to work out. I didn't think they'd kind of had a favorable swap during the kind of season changes that happened, but actually they put up a really strong performance against Fab, so I'm expecting them to come out strong. They also beat Prophecy 3-0, so now they've got a win on the board as well. So they're going to be expecting to kind of move on from that, and I think they are a squad that can get into that top 4, but these games are the ones they need to win against teams like Infused.
Yeah, and we saw glimpses of greatness last week. I mean, yes, they had to go up against Fab, but Anima and the crew were putting up the big plays, and were going toe-to-toe in slays with Fab, but unfortunately it was just a well-oiled machine of Fab that was just too much for the Xmen to try and overcome. But as you said, Dan, they already have a win in the Pro League. They are 1-1, so a great starting point here for Xmen going forward.
And after this match, we will have an interview with team captain Ramirez. I don't believe he has a webcam, so we'll more than likely be looking at a still image of his beautiful face. But let's take a look at their opponents in the red corner. We have, of course, Team Infused, Batchford, Kimbo, Flux, and Havoc. Certainly on paper, for me, this team is dangerous. This team is capable, I want to say, top 3 easily.
Yeah,
but they've got a lot of work to do.
They do. It's a scary-looking lineup, especially when you think of Kimbo being on there, but it's about how the mindset kind of goes for these guys, because Kimbo is going to start to get frustrated. You've got to remember that Kimbo was on Fab last season. He didn't even drop a series. Now he's staring down a 0-2 barrel that he is not going to want to be a part of. He's going to be saying to his teammates, look, we need to step this up. Yes, okay, we took Fabi to some close games last week. I mean, especially Fathom CTF was close.
Yep.
But we need to get this win. If we don't win this, then we may have no hope of finals.
And that was one of the biggest questions coming in for this Infused roster, in my eyes, was whether Kimbo would have the same amount of success as he did on Fabi in terms of roaming and getting kills left, right, and centre. He had so much freedom on that Fabi roster. Infused, he's trying to find his spaces here and there like he would on Fabi, but at the moment it's not really kicking off. But as we said, they have played arguably the two best teams in the league so far, certainly the top 2 in terms of league standings. So I'm not going to write off Infused just yet. I'm looking forward to see how they turn up to this matchup.
Do you think there's anything that affects your mindset in that way of, I don't want to necessarily get kicked off of Fabi, but kind of a bit of a fall from grace when you're coming in doing so much damage throughout the entirety of the summer, going to finals, winning it all, and then you remove from the roster, and now you find yourself 2-0 down. How does that affect your mindset?
Unfortunately, when team changes come around and when the roster kind of period happens, that question is going to be set. He's going to be saying to his teammates, look, I don't want to be on a team that is 0-3 down, 0-4 down. Either I'm moving off or we're making some changes. I want to see something that's going to happen, and very quickly, because, I mean, Kimbo is one of the best players in Europe in my eyes. He was fantastic last season. He's not going to be wanted to be on a squad that is not going to make those finals.
In yourself, Harry, what's the difference for Kimbo? What's the biggest change? Obviously, it's no disrespect, but certainly player skill. There are some strong players on Fab. But what kind of, does he have to adjust his play style, or does he have to adjust to the team, so to speak?
I would say let's wait until this week is out of the way until we judge them, because as I said before, I keep harping on about it. The only 2 games they've played in the league so far have been against Vibe, who've looked absolutely fantastic, completely outstanding, and Fabi, who are the reigning champions of Europe. So in my eyes, you just give them another week and then I'll give you my assessment.
The savage assessment is...
It's the political answer, I apologise.
He's been so friendly lately.
It's been quite nice.
I'm sorry, guys.
You're making me look mean.
That's because he got fined 5% last week for his savageness.
I actually did.
But that's all against the side. We're going to bring the series layup up now to show you guys how we're going to play this across a best of 5. Fathom, capture the flag will be game number 1. Game 2 moving into a regret team slayer. Eden Strongholds will be your game number 3. And if 4 and 5 are needed, we have Truth, capture the flag, and Plaza Slayer. Now, the game is just about to begin. Final thoughts before we kick in. Any scoreline predictions, Daniel?
I think this will go to maybe a 3-1 to Xmen, to be honest. The game types, actually 3 of them Infused played during week 1. They played Truth CTF, they lost 3-0 to Vibe on it. They played Fathom CTF, they lost 3-2 to Fab on it. And they played Plaza Slayer and lost 50-27 to Fab on it. So I feel Xmen may have targeted some of those game types that perhaps Infused look relatively weak on. On the other hand, Xmen, they just played Fathom CTF last week and they lost 3-2 to Fab as well.
If you're asking me about the first 3 game types, I'm saying Fathom probably goes towards Xmen, because they put a really good performance up against Fabi on that particular game type last week. But I think Regret is a very solid game type for Infused. So I'm saying Fathom goes to Xmen, Regret certainly goes to Infused, and then Eden Strongholds is a bit of a toss-up for me. I'm looking forward to see how that one plays out, and then well, we can see on the vetoes right there how it all plays out.
It's just as if we magically appeared and made room for them on the desk. So we're going to see Xmen take the first ban. They're going to take out Colosseum. We'll kind of run through this. They are getting the game started up in the background, guys. Won't be a second, but let's have a look at the vetoes.
I mean,
are there any of these a surprise for yourself?
I'm surprised Xmen did ban Colosseum because they beat Prophecy on it last week during the day 2 when we didn't see. They won 3-2, so I thought perhaps that's a confident game type. But they may have looked at statistics. Maybe they've scrimmed Infused before and lost that game type. And you know that these guys aren't going to make foolish vetoes. They know what they want to play. They know what their opposition are going to be good and bad at. So clearly they feel Colosseum is a map for Infused.
And then we find in the Truth, that will go out from Team Infused. And then as we finally look at Stasis, Xmen will cancel that one out, which leads us into this Fathom CTF. Now, one person I kind of want to focus on Fathom is my boy Batchford, or I like to call Railford. He's a bit of a fan of this gun, and every time I have watched him, he has done some damage with it every single time.
Yeah, he's okay with it. Do you think back to the old rig when Rig Strongholds had the railgun on it? He used to lock that thing down, and it really helped his team out. So if he can do the same kind of thing, replicate his performances last season on the rig on Fathom here in game number 1, I really think Infused have a real shot of taking it.
You say Railford though, but Lunny also with the railgun is unbelievable. I mean, he's done some crazy things with it. And I think it's going to be the Lunny versus Batchford kind of battle of who can control top mid more and who can kind of get that railgun.
I always remember the Lunny and was it book 57?
I think it was 20.
The treehouse battle for supremacy was incredible. But you know what, guys? We are live. Game number 1 is rocking and rolling. Remember, be sure to tweet the stream. Use the hashtag HCS. This is the first series of the evening. We are in for some fantastic European Halo Esports action. If you're on Facebook, be sure to share the stream as well. And of course, drop us a follow on all of our social media. So here we go, guys. Game number 1 is underway.
Yeah, and Ramirez now, he's going to want to stick with his teammates and try and just get that top mid control. You know how important top mid control is at the start of this. And look how quickly Anima is to the top of that map, but he will be greeted by someone else. And people are just going to try and be searching for that railgun. And immediately Anima gets that kill on Batchford. So there'll be no railgun for Batchford early on.
This is going to be an important first kill, and it's actually going to be Kimbo who takes the first blood, taking out the Uke. Can he get his kill? Unfortunately, Anima's not allowed to let that one off. If he would have been in the base doing damage with that gun, that could have been extremely dangerous. Chalky's going to beam down on this flag. Me, personally, I'd probably just look to leave it, unless we can see Lunny do some disgusting things with that railgun inside the base. Lunny's picking up a double kill, actually, just as I say that. Finally, he does go down. Chalky will spin around, get the beat down off. Unfortunately, doesn't land a kill, but he at least did some work and kind of got it moving.
Yeah, the whole time, though, the Xmen were moving that flag. We saw Infused were also running it as well, but both flags do go back to base, so they will go back to this now initial starting point, and Lunny back to top mid, but now he's going to want to get his hands on that railgun once again, laying down some good shots, actually, but he's going to be communicating with his teammates here, just letting them know where everyone's pushing. He will be saying, look, there's a couple of guys on the VAT, be careful, make sure you don't get flanked.
And he bounces the grenade off the wall, and it hits Flux on the floor, purple in the face. A little bit, I have to mention that then, Flux didn't even look towards top mid. Even though he was raining down bullets onto one player, you would have thought somebody may have called him out and says, look, there's a dude top mid, somebody please kill him. He was left to do his own thing, picks up the kill, grabs a perfect as well, right into the visor of Havoc, and now the flag is on the move. And look at this. Absolutely no shots inside him. However, as we look across the map in the opposing side inside his base, we actually see one player pulling out. It's going to be Batchford. The flag's coming in. He actually misses the door, but it kind of does him a favor because it slides him across. It's going to be... Can he get that from where he is? Can he poke up, or does he have to poke out? But it doesn't matter because his teammate's there to help him out. He's going to clean up that easy kill. He does need to get this return first, but as we can see on the player outlines, nobody's there. The first flag is going in.
And that was all Lunny, and it stems from what you said. I mean, no one called him out top mid. There was no grenades thrown. He was then able to push to that BR section of the map. He got some shots on Kimbo. Kimbo pushed out unexpectedly, and then Lunny was able to run that flag because of it. So good work from Lunny, just kind of dominating the map on his own. He didn't even really care where his teammates were. Pretty much just said, look, this is my half of the map, and now he has camouflage as well as a reward.
And I really hope you two gentlemen are as confused as I when I look at Infused and actually see him on the blue team when they are all colouring red. Lunny will get taken down finally by Anima. Excuse me, that's my mistake. It's actually not going to be Anima. It's going to be Flux. He goes one-on-one with Ramirez up in this treehouse. Chalky gives him some support to push him back. They do box him in, he does go down, but look at this. Two players pushing aggressively in through the garage. One's going to poke up through the window. It's going to be Anima with the railgun, jumps in. Havoc gets destroyed, and now he's caught back in the gen area. And Flux, again, this is the second time that they've put the railgun inside the opposing enemy's base.
And this is why I love the railgun that is bottom mid, because when it was top mid, you kind of just be suckered into staying there, and you would just be happy to control the map. But now the railgun's bottom mid, you kind of grab it, and you get a bit more aggressive with it. You're more inclined to push in and get nice as we see a little bit of a windmill coming out there.
Yeah, something I really don't like about Havoc's play is that he tries to be overly aggressive sometimes, and that was one of those times it's absolutely not necessary. Just as I say that, I think it's going to be one of the Xmen players actually putting a flag in, and you can see right now the score's 2-0. I'm not sure Anima is actually aware of the player behind him there. I think it's Kimbo who's just relaxing behind him. Anima still somehow manages to pick up a kill on Havoc there. Absolutely huge stuff there from Anima, staying alive despite the pressure from behind by this man right here around the corner, Kimbo. And there you go, he comes back around, gets the kill on Kimbo as well. Great stuff there from Anima.
I like that he rotated back and at least took him down. He knew he was there. He didn't know he was there at first, but finally did put some shots, caused a few problems. One thing I want to go back to that initial flag, the second flag cap, excuse me, was when they spawned, they actually decided to run into the base. Even though the flag was on the way and on the move through the treehouse, they still decided to go into their base, which kind of cost them a little bit of time. I would like to have seen them push out a little bit more, either, you know, go towards the garage or possibly go bottom mid and just kind of steamboat and beeline that flag. But unfortunately, they are now down 2 flags with 8 minutes on the board, and here comes a run from Havoc.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about before. I said I didn't like some of the overly aggression from Havoc, and instead he decides to go straight into the base and is already running the flag. That's the plus side of Havoc's aggressive nature, pretty much. I mean, his playstyle allows his teams to make plays around him, excuse me.
Now, Xmen are in a similar position they were last week against Fab when they were 2-1 up. They did go on to lose that game 3-2, and I don't know whether they just get a little bit too passive once they are just 1 capture away. I'd like to see them continue the aggression. Very important kill, making sure that camera goes down there.
Yeah, very important kill indeed, Dan. Anima looking up towards Batchford. Batchford's going to drop down. He's not. Ramirez going to plant one between his eyeballs. Down he goes. Double kill as well. 2 more players alive on the map. Big kill from Anima. That's going to be 3 players down. Flag is in. And my word, Xmen, what an aggressive start.
Yes, what they needed to do as well, especially last week against Fab, they didn't do that once they were ahead. They kind of backed off a little bit. They just absorbed pressure. So it's great to see them stay aggressive, and phenomenal work from Ramirez. Some really important kills from him.
Yeah, top slayer in the game, Ramirez, 15 kills on the Infused side. We're seeing, what, 3 8s and a 6. Not really enough slaying power out from then. The story of the game pretty much was just Xmen getting the kills and making the flag runs happen. Great stuff from them.
Lunny at the top there with the tri-cap as well. And one thing I kind of want to note, we have had a bit of a meme and a bit of a joke in the past about Ramirez's kills. Harry, you pulled me on it last week and says, nah, not this anymore. And you know what, my friend? He's back with a vengeance in Halo 5. The amount of times we saw double kills kind of on that kill feed, you know, with the railgun time and time again.
Well, I mean, on last week's show, he was kind of top of Xmen's scorecard every single game that we saw on the live show. And I think that's what you were going to say as well.
That's basically exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, I stole your line, my friend.
That's fine, don't worry.
I know that's your part, but I thought I don't want to act like I'm not doing it.
I still get paid the same amount of money no matter what you say, so don't
Minus
worry about
5%
it.
again.
What? Nothing. Okay, but yeah, no, Xmen looking so much better for it as well. I mean, I feel like Ramirez has certainly focused on his own gameplay when in game. I mean, if he can focus on winning his individual battles and making sure he gets his team the kills, his portion of the kills, then Xmen look really great. I mean, they did in that game. When Ramirez is actually getting the kills on the board, I mean, you saw right there, they swept Infused pretty much. Yes, Infused got a flag capture on the board, but they never really looked like they were in the game.
Kind of speaking about the flag cap that came out of Infused, you said this is kind of the opposite end when it comes to Havoc's aggression. Would you call that a YOLO cap? Just run it and bomb it and hope it?
No, it certainly wasn't. I mean, the positive side of Havoc's play is the fact that if he knows where everyone is on the map, he can run around the other side of the map and trust his team to get kills. That was what happened that time round. I mean, Havoc was already in the base to pull the flag. We're watching the highlights from the last match on stream right here. But the negative side is that sometimes Havoc is a little bit too over-aggressive. He trusts in his shot a little bit too much and unfortunately tries to make a play. It doesn't work out most of the time. So if Havoc can try and reel himself in a little bit here and there, I know he likes to play aggressive, that maybe Infused could perhaps benefit from it, but it's just as I thought. It's pretty much Infused dropping game number 1.
So if you are just joining us, guys, welcome along. As Harry did mention, this is game number. We're moving into game number 2. The one thing we have to note about this, people in the audience, this is quite an important matchup because now we're moving into the area. Fair enough, we're only into week number 2. There's still 4 weeks left, including this one. But more than anything, these two teams will really want to set a precedence and really put a stamp on the board. And kind of in that battle for 3rd and 4th place, these two teams, it's fair to say they're kind of in that area.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a battle for 3rd place. I think it's a battle for 4th place, which is what is scary. You are that close to the relegation zone, but Xmen just kind of set the pace of that game from the off. Anima jumped top mid, he grabbed camo, dropped down, got railgun. Instantly, he had both of those. They had control of those power-ups and those power weapons. They would have had the timings. And then you saw at the end, Ramirez had that railgun and how impactful that was. That double kill basically got them the capture.
Smash batch for this. We were running flag. They were just, it's covering it, covering fire and nice defense. Let's take a quick look at the vetoes and show you guys at home how we landed into Regret Team Slayer. Infused take out Truth. Xmen answer back with Regret. That's interesting one. I'm moving on that. Can you ban Regret twice?
I'm not sure you can.
No, I think that one's a little bit wrong. We'll work on that one from the back, guys. Colosseum coming out of Infused, and then Eden taken out by Xmen, and then the Rig will be banned out by Team Infused. So I'm hoping we have land on Regret.
Game 2 is Regret Slayer.
Right. So the second one is wrong. We'll get that sorted in just a second, but. Regret TS, who does this favour, boys?
I said before the series, I think Infused, certainly this favours their kind of play style. If Xmen can get the overshields, I honestly think they have a really good chance of winning this game. It sounds like a bit of a cop-out to just say, if they can time these power-ups, if they can, get them away from the hands of Infused, then they have a chance of winning the game, but it is that simple. If that's the only chance they really have, because Infused, they absolutely swarm bases on this game type. They're very aggressive. We saw Havoc in the last game on Fathom flying out of the treehouse. Their whole team does that on this game type. So if you can get the overshield, try and counter a little bit of the pressure coming out of Infused, then maybe Xmen have a chance. But for me, I'm going for Infused.
I think I'm going for Xmen. I think it's one of those maps again where you just have to kind of take advantage when you do have control. You really need to kind of get those 5 or 6 kills, and then if you are going to lose control, just kind of reduce the impact of what your opponent's doing and how many kills they're getting. And I think Xmen are going to be a little bit better at doing that. I think they're better at setting the pace. I think they're better at controlling the game.
One thing I'm looking forward to seeing who controls the scatter shot, because when one team really gets a hold of that, we didn't see this on stream last week. Now coming into the fall season, there's now a scatter on this map. I am quite pumped to see who grabs that weapon, because what I'm finding is when playing and watching some of these teams, if one person is allowed to just roam freely and do damage with that weapon, the scoreline can escalate rather quickly. Going to kick things off with Flux POV to start the game. Chalky will burn the first OS. Flux is sure to take him down. Now here comes the scatter. Anima's going in with the grenades. Anima's going to sit him down quite instantly. Railguns, excuse me, Scat's shot is still there. He's going to wang that one in the back pocket. Not a bad thing to do if it's lying on the floor for free. Two players are going to advance above his head. He'll get the call out from his teammate. Batchford comes in, trying to get the green gun off, but doesn't find any targets. And I like this play from Anima. Just sit back, let someone advance, gets a little bit too aggressive, pokes out again, just trying to bait in Batchford. Batchford's teeing up a ground pound. He'll get the call out from, oh, that came from his teammate, but actually Havoc, excuse me, not Batchford. Now he will find Flux. One shot, cleans him up. Team takedown comes in. We're all timed up by the beast. He doesn't quite find his face. Looks again. The grenades will get pushed back. This will be an important kill, though.
I was going to say, Anima needs to be careful. He needs to be sticking with his team and communicating. Try and bait them in and really use that scatter shot to full effect. You don't want to give it away too easily. He kind of roamed out in a bit too much open space for me. I liked his position. He was trying to get his teammates to say, look, if you pull them in, I will just finish them off. Unfortunately, he kind of just walked away, and now that scatter shot is just going to be on the floor, ready for someone to pick up.
And now here comes the aggression, what Harry was speaking about in the pre-game. Flux just dives in and happily cleans up the free double kill that's waiting for him. We're going to see Lunny banking around the corner, and also Chalky, but they're shut down quite easily. Now Lunny will advance down, but he's got the scatter. Can he survive? No, he cannot. Flux will be dropped. Let's hop on board with Lunny and see where he goes with this weapon.
I'm glad that Lunny was able to pick it up, and Anima probably communicated with him and said, look, there is a scatter shot on the floor. We need to make sure we have it because it is so disgusting on this game type. And now Lunny can just run right. As long as he sticks with his team and he pushes accordingly with them, he can say, look, if you guys just force them out, you flush them out, and I'll be waiting with the scatter shot. And that's exactly what Xmen are trying to do now, but unfortunately Ramirez goes down because of it.
Oh, I was going to say there comes the bait and switch, but unfortunately he didn't scope in. If he was scoped in with that gun, he could have tightened up the spread and maybe got the kill, but he does get sat down. I believe one of his teammates managed to pick it up, though.
Yeah, important part of the game right here. In 3 seconds' time, that Plasma Cast is coming up at top pink, but also the Overshield is coming up very soon as well. So you're going to see both teams right here dip down low, trying to pick up that Overshield. You see the mad scramble going down in bottom middle. I think it's Lunny in the end who actually tries to go for the Overshield, but it is burnt in the end, I do believe. And Kimbo here, still with the scatter shot. So in my opinion, Infused coming out with the win in that engagement.
And sometimes I think just having that scatter shot is extremely important because it is a really good answer for that Overshield. Yes, okay, if you get the Overshield, but if you walk into a scatter shot just like that, it is not going to be very pretty for you. And now Kimbo is just showing his class here. He's controlling top mid and just having that scatter shot in his back pocket to use effectively.
Can I remind you guys, before the Overshield was coming up, this score was 14-12 in favor of Xmen. It's now 19-14 in favor of Infused. So we said if Xmen could somehow get the Overshield, then they have a chance. Can he get the overkill? Kimbo, no! Lunny shuts him down. He will go down in the end though, but damn, this scoreline has escalated quickly in favor of Infused.
Escalated is the perfect word. That's getting a little bit out of control. We really now need to see the Xmen just kind of put the brakes on for a second and just say, look boys, what is going on? How do we stop this advancement? Quite surprised that Anima didn't even get hit by any of the oncoming Plasma Caster assault. Two more players will charge him. Look at that. They boxed him in, shut him down. Now all four members here of Infused just really helping each other out on this side of the map. We got two on the left and two on the right. Look at this. They're just working in pairs, trying to hunt down individual people.
And this is the situation I said you need to be careful of. When your opponent does have that control, you really need to stop the bleeding. You don't want to give away too many kills. You just need to group up, choose your time, decide when you're going to go for that push, and then that's when you storm out of a base. Perhaps when an Overshield is coming up, when there is a possible map-changing ability that you can pick up, and then that Overshield is definitely a chance. But we saw when Xmen tried to get the Overshield last time, what happened to them, so they need to be careful. Perhaps they need to get that scatter shot first, or at least know that they've killed the guy with it.
Cheeky 7-kill lead then here for Team Infused. They've got some breathing room. They can take it easy, but certainly they don't want to turtle or go defensive. They want to work together. They want to keep this aggression onto the Xmen and really keep the kills flowing. In theory, all they kind of have to do is get a trade for a trade. We will see Anima coming up from behind. He will get the flank, and that allows Chalky to pick up a double. That's actually going to be Lunny helping him out. The triple wasn't there, but now they've reduced that lead from an 8-kill lead down to a 4. But you know what? Havoc's there happily with a splinter grenade. Says, you know what, Ramirez? You sit on that, my friend.
Yeah, Havoc was uncontested getting that overshield. We did see Anima pick up that plasma pistol because he knows that the overshield was up. I think Xmen actually sacrificed the overshield for map control. They said, look, you can drop down low, you can have that overshield, and then we will take map control, and that's how we're going to get back into this game.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened down, and now they're only down by 3, so Xmen saying, hey, you know what, Infused, if you want to power up, that's fine, we're just going to counter it. That's exactly what's happened, and now they're only down by 3.
That's how you bring it back, ladies and gentlemen. Down by 2, down by 1, grenade goes in, hits Batchford in his face. Another one, he's probably going to get some hit markers on there, which he does. Either that or he got the green gun. Either way, one player is half shield. You saw the assist medal come in on the side there. Now they're all tied up, 30 apiece, 7 minutes on the clock. Dan, this is an awesome game.
Yeah, this is where Xmen can just take advantage of their situation. Now they're in control. They went about 10 kills down to Infused. If they can make a better deficit than what Infused did, they're in really good nick for the last few minutes of the game. But Infused are kind of trading 1 for 1 at the moment. It's exactly what they need to do. They need to stay alive and just try and group up in 1s or 2s, not give away any silly deaths. Perhaps wait for this next overshield, see if Xmen are going to make his mistake, because Xmen might do what Infused did. They might drop for the overshield and give up that map control.
This is going to be an important win for Xmen, and honestly, a very important win for Infused as well, because fair enough, it's all about momentum. But if I got come back on from 8 kills down, I'd be pretty pissed off. And honestly, I can see them going into game 3, 2 games down. They'd be furious. So they need to get this win on the board. 2-kill lead now. We're seeing players drop down, I believe, for the OS. I didn't quite time it. Harry, did you catch one?
It's in another 10 seconds. So now teams are going to start filtering towards that bottom of the map. So they are certainly starting to set up for that, but it's not up for another 10 or so seconds.
Yeah, and once you do kind of drop down, you do give up that map control. So both teams going to be a little bit cautious. They might just send down the one player, and you'll have the rest of your squad kind of just sitting top mid, sitting in a base, trying to put down some supporting fire. But Havoc was the guy who got it last time. You see him charging towards it, but he's going to be taken down as several members of Xmen do drop. It is Chalky who's rewarded with it, and the rest of his team are there to support. Now it's whether he can get into a position to utilize this overshield so they can regain this map control and put this game to bed.
Perfect word in there, Dan. Utilizing it. Not quite. Oh, there's a player right next to him. He's hitting down, so that's the OS going to be pretty much wiped off. He's not going to get that kill. Looking for his teammate to help him out. They're actually getting pushed in. They got pinched and boxed. Oh, they do take the lead to Infused, but it's fragile as hell. Only a 1-kill lead now. This game's going to come down to the wire. Look for these easy cleanups. They really need to make every single one count.
Yeah, you know what's a really interesting factor about this game? This next overshield isn't up for another minute or so. So this is basically going to be a scrap in the middle of the map. But just as I say that, all 4 of Xmen get a kill. Excuse me, all 4 of Infused go down. So now it's just like that, a 2-kill lead in favor of Xmen.
We may see one more overshield just because the game naturally slows down towards the end. When people get a little bit more nervous, people don't want to die, but you don't want to get caught out like Kimbo just did. You don't want to give away any of those silly deaths. This is still a very, very close one, and now people will slow down. I do think the next overshield will come into play, Harry.
I mean, adding insult to Indreb, I just realised that Chalky and Ramirez are actually using their old Infused tag, so we'll see if they do beat their old former organisation. Chalky's going to find one. That's going to be Flux in the corner. Grenade goes in. He's going to get tagged up. You saw the hit markers, but he comes back with Flux and answers back. 46-46. All drawn up here. We now see Infused taking the lead by 1, but it's still super fragile. They've turned that into 2, and this is so crucial and so important when we're so late on in the game. Kimbo's going to back off, which is fantastic work for him. Look for Chalky, though, out on the wing there. Chalky's going to jump out. We'll see Batchford going for the kill. That should be an easy clean-up for him. He does get that one as well. 49-47. They only need one more kill. Havoc finds Lunny out in the open. Havoc will drop back, and then he pokes out again. Lunny's going to get called, and there you have it. We're all tied up, 1 game apiece.
Oh, I'm pretty happy that Infused came out on that one. You know why? Because I kind of predicted it. I would have looked a little bit silly if Xmen came out on top in the end, but it is Infused in the end, Dan, who come out on top.
I know we were saying about that overshield and whether it's going to come into play, and yes, okay, it didn't come up, but Lunny dropped bottom mid, kind of just predicting that it was going to be coming up soon and saying, look, if the game does slow down, I'll be able to grab that overshield and it might make the difference. Eventually, he did get caught out, but I mean, statistically, is there anything that stands out there for you, Harry?
Massively, the assists and the kills out of Batchford. 16 kills and 14 assists. Yes, he had 13 deaths, his fair share of deaths, but great work out of him, getting double-digit assists. I mean, just check out the assists all across the board here from Infused. We said they like to play this game type very aggressively, and aggressively they played it. Check out the assists.
But I mean, when you don't look at assists and you speak about Flux, it won't assign his teammates, but look at the deaths.
Yep.
He kept the deaths below double-digit figures. The only player in there. On the opposing side, though, we've got to give a little bit of love to Anima. +6 coming out of him. nice work, especially on a game like this. A game time like this, it can be very fast-paced.
I want to shout out to Flux as well. There was several times he won some really important 1v1s. There was times where just a few Xmen members would kind of float around on their own. They get caught out alone. And Flux was always there, just being like, yeah, mate, I'll take a 1v1 pistol, I'll take a 1v1 BR fight. And he is an absolutely fantastic shot, Flux. So it's good to see him finally putting up some good stats.
Big shout out as well to George in the back for the music, because these are some dank tunes right now, my friend.
It sounds like Sonic Adventure. Gotta go fast, you know?
Oh, gotta go. That's just a meme in itself.
At the speed of sound.
Loving life.
My angel.
But yeah, Dan, you kind of called that one perfectly. There were plenty of times that we saw Flux, really some vital kills that could have been really gone either way.
Yeah, and I credit to Infused. I said I think Xmen kind of had the experience to kind of take those situations where you do have map control, but actually Infused took the initiative. They got an 8-kill lead, and yes, okay, Xmen came back into it, but once Xmen came back into it, Infused had already recuperated. They kind of said, look, we've now got back together. Okay, the game's tied, but now we can start getting ahead once again. So it was just that one kind of moment, that one time change in the map where they got that 8-kill lead that really made the difference.
But it wasn't an easy win, I've got to say. I mean, Xmen, they brought it down. I think it was an 8-kill deficit, and they took it by 1 at one point. It was like 9 to 10 consecutive kills.
Yeah. I think the swing points in the game pretty much were the overshields that came up. I can remember 2 occasions. The one time that Xmen decided to completely leave the overshield, Havoc got it completely uncontested, but was melted, and Xmen took map control. And then the other overshield where Infused, I'm pretty sure they stopped one of the Xmen players, and then it went from like 14 to 12 in favor of Xmen to like 18 to 14 in favor of Infused. So the overshield's certainly playing a big factor in that game, as we predicted. I mean, you know, I don't want to blow my own trumpet or anything.
One of the important kills I want to give a shout out as well to Havoc at the end. Yep. Where Chalky, I mean, who's kind of, when you've got a full OS like that, do you really want to be staying down low and rushing, you know, into a bottom base? Because Havoc just signed a corner with an AR saying, hey, let's have a bit of sunshine, bring it on.
I think it was a good idea, what Chalky wanted to do. It's very important that you be aggressive with an overshield, but I don't think he was anticipating the 2 players to be down there. He certainly saw one of them, but wasn't aware that the other one was around the corner. Obviously, we get the benefit of the outlines. Chalky does not, so he'll be kind of ruining his decision when he watches that one back, especially if they go on to lose this series. But either way, Game 3's coming up. Just got to shake it off and let it go.
I don't think it was the wrong decision. I mean, really, you want to kind of get out of sight with that OS. You don't want to be walking too far around the map and just being in the line of sight of everyone. He saw someone in that bottom base, and he would have thought, right, I'm going to win this 1v1. And like Harry said, you're not going to be expecting necessarily, or maybe you should be expecting people to be crouching around the corner with assault rifles, because it does happen quite often nowadays. But it's an unfortunate one. I don't think it was a kind of game changer. I think they did well to grab that overshield, but now they just need to move forward. Forget about it. It's tied up 1 apiece, and we're going to actually see a game 4 for once on a live stream.
And as you can see on screen there, quiet please. Interesting stuff there with Mr. Peter. Quiet please, Harry. Strongholds on Eden will be your 3rd game type. Remember, guys, tweet the stream, use the hashtag HCS. We're going to see the first game 4 of the fall season live on stream. Flux going down for the OS. He does put a grenade and plants it right in Lunny's face, picks him off with the 1 bullet. Trying to look round at Blueben, unfortunately doesn't quite land the jump, but you know what, that's fine. It's only a quick round the corner trip. He'll drop down at the back area just to have a look for those rockets. We're going to see Lunny, who does get baited out by the... he just gets caught on the wall. Thankfully, Batchford had his back there. Lunny's going to try and get that, but Batchford cleans it up. One of his teammates is around the corner as well. Batchford's poking out quite aggressively, but he does thrust back. Nice shots though from Flux. Really clean, really crisp. There's the double kill, and he's going to bag the rockets, I do believe, just for a bit of fun also.
I mean, at the start of both games now, Flux has just made some really important kills. He's put himself in situations. He's clearly confident in his shot and says, look, I know where the power-ups are. I know where the power weapons are. Put me in that place. I will win the battles. Yes, okay, I can back off. I can use my teammates. He's going to be feeling extremely confident about this shot now. He just needs to utilize these rockets. Nice patience from him there, not pushing out too quickly to allow Ramirez to get any kind of shot on him before he used that rocket.
I like the rotation here, though, from Infused. They kind of... They pushed through the bottom area, you know, just underneath, and decided to go for Red Nest. They capped that, but they actually came from behind, as we saw on screen. They came from behind Xmen, and now they've kind of boxed them into catwalks. So Flux can just sit here quite happy. No one's getting Blueben where he's got these rockets in hand. They're also spawning here, so they can push aggressively. But on the opposing side, they have lost Red. So now we'll be looking for Xmen to spawn in there, try and take back the nest. Chalky's peeking up. He's got an SMG. Gets the call out. Goes for Kimbo. Nice easy kill for him. Gets a little bit of time in the hill. But he also needs to be careful because we do have an SMG in play on the opposing side in the form of Havoc. But he does have support. I like this. We're actually going to see... Oh, once again, it's kind of split up, though. And now all three players have come in. This is great teamwork.
It is great teamwork, and they've got so much control. And every single time that an Xmen puts an Infused player down for weak, they just back off. And there's always another member of Infused waiting for them just to support them perfectly.
Can I just say, Flux is still alive with this set of rockets. If he can get this overshield as well, he would have done absolute mad work for his team. I mean, he's just got overshield. He's already got a set of rockets. He's definitely been the unsung hero of Infused so far this season. He's played so well, and now he's got an overshield and an SMG to play with.
Yeah, and they might be able to just go for another triple cap here and just start to bleed Xmen dry, just really push in. They might get camo as well, so they've just got everything. They've got all the tools, all the weapons, and suddenly Xmen just are going to feel very much on the back foot, and they're going to be thinking, what do we need to do? How do we get back into this? Because when those points start racking up against you, you do start to panic. You do start to think, what can we do? Where do we need to push? Who's doing something wrong? Who's losing their individual battles? They just need to group up and really try and take the game to Infused.
Oh, I do love the sound of the SMG in my ears. You can just hear your enemies live as you're drilling them from behind. You can see them going down. Batchford's here now, looking for two players are actually going to poke up on him, so he's going to get pushed back. Ramirez comes from behind. He will get a double kill. He's hunting down Batchford as well. He's forced to rotate around. But while all this is going on, oh, nice kill from him. I think we may have
just had
possibly had a DC there, so we'll get word from the back on what happens in this scenario. I believe it will possibly be a continuation, but we'll get confirmation of that. Either way, definitely that game, well and truly in the hands of Infused. However, Ramirez with that almost a double kill there, they started to really get the momentum and put something together.
Yep.
The triple cap came into effect as well.
Well, I said, how were Xmen going to get back into this? And it was that kind of flank that they needed from Ramirez to get it. I mean, that grenade, he got a double kill with it. Maybe a bit fortunate, but those are the kind of things you need to get back into a game. You need that little bit of luck. You need that little bit of fortune. But I feel Xmen were capable of getting back into it. It's certainly a game that can really swing on its head once you do get that control. And it did look like they were starting to get a little bit of map control. So Disconnect is going to play a big part, and we'll have to see what happens with the continuation. I
want to give a massive shout out to Kimbo and Flux, who decided to swap gamer tags halfway through, which messed up my player's shortcuts on the controller. It's so fun. In fact, I don't think it was Kimbo. I think it was Havoc and Flux.
This whole Infused playing as blue team is absolutely warping my mind. It's confusing the living hell out of me.
More confusing is that Ramirez is still called Infused Ramirez. So I'm like,
Infused Chalky.
Xmen, I don't even know what's going on anymore. There's just 6. That's why Infused were doing so well. There were 6 of them on the side.
Exactly, yeah. It's not really fair, is it?
No, 6 on 2. It does kind of weigh up the odds. So that's, if we make a few mistakes, we do apologise. Things are a little bit wild here at the desk. But you know what, guys? While we're waiting for the update and also the next game to get underway, why don't you guys tweet us? Let us know your thoughts. Let us know where you're watching from. Send us some dank memes. Show us your little setup at home. We want to know. We want to get your predictions, theories, and who you're looking forward to seeing here at the finals, who you think is going to be here at the finals with us. Follow us on all of our social media, including Twitter. It's all at ESL Halo. Remember, wherever you do tweet, wherever you do post, use the hashtag HCS. And while you're at it, chuck the stream link in there, guys. Yeah. Share and share alike.
Yeah, share and share alike. I want to know what people had for dinner. So if you want to tweet using the hashtag... No? Are we not allowed to?
I honestly, that's 10% now. That is in cut from his wages. Yeah. You're doing it
I'm
to yourself,
interested in culinary stuff.
I'm not even in a position to deduct wages
from you. Can we please not
but
talk about food and culinary again after last week's dank memes? We'll forget about that one on the bake-off. So good to hear Sims, Dan Gaskin, and I'm not going to mention his name again, calling Game 5 for Vibe, HCS, ESL Halo. Thank you, LFTG_TV. We appreciate you watching as well.
Didn't we have a similar tweet like that last week?
What, we didn't mention your name?
Maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you,
I've repressed those kind of memories. They only belong between me and my psychiatrist, so...
It's been weird. It's just been really holding that joke in for so long.
Yeah, sure, joke.
So... Oh, banterific. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think we can see it definitely at Game 5. Me personally, I think we're going to see a Game 5 at some point. These teams have only got better. It's the same in the North American Pro League. The teams have only got tighter, and honestly, I can't call it at this point. And speaking of finals, if you want to join us, we have sold half of the tickets, guys. You need to get in now, and you grab yours now if you want to be joining us here at ESL Studio One live in the heart of England at Leicester. Of course, ESL.gg/EUHCS-fall. They're only a couple of quid. Come and have a laugh. It's a good day out.
Only a couple of quid, guys. Come on.
I'm not Scottish.
I kind of went into American a little bit in there, but I feel like
it sounded more Scottish to me, didn't
right,
it?
okay, let's go.
Sound like Batchford.
Leave Batchford in the railgun.
I've got the railgun, mate. Get Ramirez down. I'll kill him. He's one shot. I think it's quite a good impression, to be honest with you.
It was. It kind of.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was nice.
Harry's looking at me with despair in those very drained, bloodshot eyes of his. Are you all right, mate?
We've got to that point where we're waiting for a decision, and we're doing impressions of Batchford. Welcome to the HCS.
4th European season, where there's banter all over the place. Well, while we're waiting for this, let's talk about America. EG, unfortunately, and LOL. Two games in a row.
That's what's crazy. I mean, the fact that the EG can go and beat Optic, and then EG just lose to LOL, it's just like, what's going on live? Optic, they were Optic, and they just beat Optic, and it's just all the...
It's trying to do power rankings currently.
Have you seen the circular parity of the results? I think it was on Team Beyond, and literally it's like X team has beaten this team, who's beaten this team, who's beaten this team, like almost everyone has.
So I'm being told that Xmen require 100 points, and Team Infused require 44.
Oh.
As per the new rule set.
I see.
So there you go. The game is getting started. Of course, you did see me write this down because my memory is
on my paper, might I add. No paper here. No notes.
He has got a sword, though.
I've got a sword.
Don't pick it up.
No, that definitely ain't been held up by a roll of gaffer tape in any way, shape or form.
Shout out to my boy Onset. He was expecting you last week to pick up the sword and lunge across the table towards us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He did. I did get a tweet saying, "Why didn't you whack Wonderboy with it?" I was like, "Well, that's not very nice."
That's
as much as we are in for you know, for a bit of banter. I'm not all about hitting a child with a sword. I certainly wouldn't be ever doing that.
Child line, almost certainly, if you did that. He's laughing.
I'm not going to hit you with a sword. That'd just be cruel.
Good.
We are all good friends.
Keep
here.
it that way.
Don't leave me hanging here, please. Don't leave me. Yeah.
Yes, I blocked it.
You know what? I'm done. I can't.
Yep.
I can't work with you anymore.
No fist bump. Do you remember the last season when you two high-fived above my head and someone made a gif?
Oh, as is gif, you're just going. It looked amazing.
I was about to suggest a dab off, but the spectate bonus just appeared, so you'll have to wait for another.
You know, I have never dabbed in my entire life.
Oh my god! Can we have
I have never dabbed on stream. And I am gonna definitely keep it that way. The game 3 is now live. Remember to give you guys an update. Xmen need 100 points. Team Infused need 44. I'm just gonna let these guys keep doing their own thing, and I'll keep talking to you in a professional manner. Because unfortunately, I can't take these too seriously. I really hope this game's getting started soon because I'm slowly but surely running out of words. So I'm going to slow my voice down and hope this game definitely getting started in time, is it, boys?
I mean, so Xmen need 100. So that is, I mean, that's basically what they needed anyway because, I mean, they were so far behind. I think they only had 3 on the board. So it's not really changing much. I like this rule set. I like the continuation that we do now with these, when we have these replays, but we are going to jump into it. A nice little information for you there at the bottom right of your screen. Xmen need 100. Team Infused only need 44 points to win. And if Infused can continue to do what they were doing in the last game, they should be in good nick to do it, Sims.
Once again, thank you for bearing with us, guys. We do apologise about that. Again, we are in with the resumed game. We're only 20 seconds in. As he brought up the scores, you can actually see them on screen there, 144. Ramirez getting some solid kills, though. Obviously bagging that camo. But look at this coming out of Infused. They're all really kind of backed up in this one corner together.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge there from Ramirez. I was about to touch upon the improved start that Xmen certainly came up with this time round, but it's looking like Infused, they're starting to get back into the game now. I mean, we're seeing Batchford here capturing the catwalk again. It is total control in favour of Xmen, but Batchford shut down. So Xmen, they're looking much better this time round. Lunny has the rockets, although he's gone down as well. Much better start this time round here from the Xmen.
This is one of the hardest things about any continuation, about any replay. You learn what the other team does on a start. If you have kind of designed a start to be what's going to happen against that opponent, and then you have to change it up, it can affect you. And you saw how well Infused started last game. Flux obviously getting that important kill on the overshield, then pushing and getting rockets. He wasn't able to do that this time. But all Infused do need is that 44 points. So no matter how kind of far behind they get right now, they know they just need that one swing in the game, that one total control, as Kimbo gets a nice, dirty, perfect kill on Anima.
Yeah, he will pop his German compadre right between the eyes there. He does shut down Anima, but you know what? They've still not stopped this bleeding. The time is ticking away for Xmen. They're happy just sitting with this 2 plot. Well, unfortunately, we do see Infused sitting on 0 points. Oh, it would be awful to see a Goose Egg come out of points when we look at a Stronghold game type, but honestly, they're not really doing too much to be able to push it back. Now, this is the time, actually, just as I say that, they are moving heavily onto Blue Bend, but then we look at top catwalk, and we just see Xmen dive bombing into it. They're going to tag this one up, and we've only got 1 point on the board for Team Infused.
Yeah, they were so close as well, but Xmen did well just to kind of all rush that point, and I think that's what you need from a team on this game type. You just need to say, look, let's not get them get an inch. Let's all just push on. Sorry, there's a little bit of a jittering there, but we are back into it now. And you just need to kind of say to your team, look, we all need to push together. Let's absolutely wolfpack anyone. Let's not give them an inch here. So good work from Xmen not to let Infused get back into the game, because if they do give them a sniff, then that's when Infused can turn it around. That's when they can go for that total control.
Bit of a buck 20 rocket coming out there, not finding its target as it did previous last week, but Ramirez with the aggression, he's going to dive into catwalk, put some good support on that, which allows 2 of his teammates to clean house. Red Nest now being taken back, 2 players will dive in. Chalky gets a grenade in there, gives Batchford the hot 5. Sit down, my friend. What a shot coming out of Chalky.
And Chalky and Ramirez working extremely well in tangent. I'm not entirely surprised. They've attended over 30 events together. They've been teammates for a long time, and you can see it in their playstyles. They just walk around like they're basically holding hands. But finally, Infused gets some more points, but once again, Xmen respond and they take back the map control, and Xmen are more than happy not to push for total control, because at the moment they are just outslaying Infused. But Batchford getting an important double there. That's Chalky and Ramirez. That's the core of the Xmen going down. Now Infused need to push on and grab one of these strongholds.
But unfortunately, he did hit that lip, so it'll be interesting to see if he does get pushed back by Xmen. They're going to get a few seconds of grace there. But every single time we see them pushing for a hill, the rotation comes out of Xmen and they'll clean one up from behind. That nest is about halfway being captured. Lunny's going to go down for a triple as well. Now this allows them to take a second plot. Unfortunately misses that jump there, but that triple kill's given them all the time in the world to at least convert back. Now they're looking towards catwalk. We will see Infused jump onto Blue Bend. They'll sit that one down. Now we just need, I'd like to see Havoc here with a bit of support, and he's going to get it. Look at this, all 3 members pushing on the catwalk, just trying to stop any advancement from Xmen. Lunny staying alive, and I have no idea how.
Interesting push here from Infused, because they know the power-up's coming soon. You've seen the rocket launcher is ready. The rockets are up, the overshield's coming up soon, and the camo's coming up at that security tower. So interesting choice here from Infused to, instead of going for rockets, they decided to try and get security control and go for that camouflage instead.
Anima going to go one-on-one with Batchy. Batchy's teeing up a ground pound. He does thrust out of it though. Comes in, they'll trade off, giving each other a punch to the jawline. Let's hop on board with somebody else who's alive. We look across the board, plenty of people dead. However, rockets will be sitting firmly in the hands of Xmen, and that's going to be Ramirez.
And Infused don't need too much left. I mean, that is just 16 points they need left to win this game. They can just be annoying now and maybe just constantly push between Red Nest and Blue Bend just to try and just squeeze as much life out of these strongholds, out of these points, just really frustrate the Xmen. But Xmen do have map control once again, and they will be looking to put this game to bed. Just 30 points needed for them now, so this is now pretty much an even game. But here's Ramirez. He's going to be taking catwalk. Can they get the triple cap, which would be extremely important going towards the end?
Oh, he could at least. I'm going to say, I'm not entirely sure why he's challenging it, but he did have some support from behind. He can put the pressure on. We're going to see Lunny push forward and say, I'll clean that one up. We'll take that triple cap in full effect. And now we're going to see the points ticking up at 2 apiece. Looking at Red Nest, there's 2 people on the opposing side of Infused advancing on it. Lunny pushes in aggressively, it takes down Batchford. Kimbo's pushed back as well, cleaned up by Chalky. Then Anima, 3 kills, 3 different players. Honestly, this could be game, set, and match. You know, if Infused don't do something and do it quick.
Is this really happening? I mean, that push from Infused to go towards security to try and get the catwalk or the camouflage has completely backfired. Ramirez got the rockets, and now we're seeing this spell of possession of the strongholds that currently Xmen are completely enjoying. They only need 8 more points to win, but they are not scoring anymore.
Oh my Lunny, what did you just do? If anyone saw him teeing up the ground pound just so he could kind of stall for a second and then thrust into it to secure the catwalk, they give the support that was needed. They now only need 6 points remaining. This is a different Xmen compared to game number 1.
It definitely is. And look at Ramirez. He was just trying to encourage someone to come back from Blue Bend, get them away from any other stronghold, because by doing so, they're not going to be putting any points on the board. But finally, Infused are now back in control. They only need 12 more points, and they will win this game. So Infused, they're really getting close, but Xmen now take control, and that should be be it, actually. Unless there can be something miraculous happening,
Incredible.
it will be game for Xmen. There was the restart, but they did need 100 points, and Infused weren't able to put that 44 on the board.
Not like this. .jpg. Oh my Xmen. Let's take a look at the kill feed. Chalky, you beast. 17 kills in the bag for him, 14 for Ramirez. Only 6 coming out of Anima, unfortunately. 13 for Lunny as well. I think he kind of hovered over a...
Is that outline there for a reason?
Yeah, is the white outline there for any reason, Harry?
Oh, 3 kills. He got three kills.
Little bit unfortunate, and again, we can only apologize for the disconnect. Xmen will answer back with 100 points to 34. We do see Team Infused falling game number 3 by 10 points. Take a quick look at some of the replays of the game.
I mean, yeah, okay, there was a disconnect. We did have a continuation. The replay did start, but I want to point out when that disconnect happened, Xmen had just regained control of the map. They were starting to turn things around, so they could have done exactly the same in that previous game. Xmen showed why they deserved to win. Infused just didn't have enough in that game.
It's part of the game, boys. Disconnects happen. I mean, you know, you should never really want to play a replay, but it is part of competitive gaming. So if you have to do play a do-over, then you got to make sure you turn up.
And actually, it shows a lot of character if you can win a replay, regardless if you were winning or losing beforehand. So credit to Xmen. They took the game, they really took a hold of it, and they were able to put Infused to bed, and now they go 2-1 up in the series, just needing one to win this whole series.
He said it perfectly. Infused looking to try and put their first win on this week in the Pro League, and of course the first win across the board. They do not want to be going 3-0 down as we look into week number 2. We are moving into game number 4. If Xmen bag this one up, they'll be taking the series, but anything's possible. They've been playing pretty well, and these teams are neck and neck. We might be seeing a game 5, boys.
Well, if Xmen take this next game, they'll be 2-1 in the league. Who would have thought this? I mean, at the start of the season, we were kind of writing Xmen off, but they've pretty much just showed us what they can do, and they would be 2-1 in the league. Obviously, we do have Truth Capture the Flag coming up next, and we know how good Infused can be on those arena-style maps. We saw it earlier on Regret Slayer, where they just collapse on bases. If they can do that on Truth Capture the Flag coming up next, they certainly can force a game 5, which is going to be Plaza Slayer, which will be a nail-biter.
Last week, Infused lost 3-0 to Vibe on Truth Capture the Flag, and it was just because they were struggling to kind of get out of the base, and Vibe had map control the whole time, and Xmen are capable of doing exactly that, exactly what Vibe did, really controlling the map, setting the pace, getting those rifles. So Infused need to just start early, and Flux needs to do something similar to what he's done in the last 2 game types, get an early kill, make sure he gets those power weapons.
You don't want to be, I mean, there are so many times we've seen on this map Kimbo just taking the fuel rod and just doing his own little thing, just wander around, completely obliterating people and just wiping them off the face of the planet. He is, I don't want to say the key to this map, but certainly he's known for doing some disgusting things to teams with that fuel rod. But again, he needs to rely on his teammates in order to kind of step up to the same level, allow him to get those weapons, allow them to get into the position and do those kind of things. But when you look at Xmen right now, some of those guys are on fire. I am stupidly and superbly impressed.
And I think you touched on it well earlier when you said about has Kimbo had to kind of change his playstyle for this team, and I think he would have. Yes, okay, when he was on Fab, he would grab that fuel rod and you'd have players like Mose, Respectful, 2Foxy to support you. And I mean, you could put me on a team with Mose, Respectful and 2Foxy and I could run right with a fuel rod, and I can't even fire the hub.
Don't you play with Fab quite a lot? And
yeah.
Didn't you get to champion last season?
No, I did play them quite a bit in last season, get carried quite a lot, but I never actually, I never got to champion. I was champion when it was cool and when no one else played it.
The beta.
My point was that those guys can make it look very easy to do anything. And now Kimbo has to kind of change his idea. He now has to step up. He needs to be the one to allow someone else to grab that fjord and allow them to go off and support them by him being the Slayer, by him being the big dog. So I think, yeah, it's changed for him.
Just before we get into this, I want to take a quick look at the vetoes. Obviously, if you are joining us, you've never seen how the veto system works. Let's explain really quickly. This is the second Capture the Flag we will see this evening. Fathom has already been played, so it's not a part of the poll. Hence, you see no no red or green area above it. We go into the first ban, which came from Infused, and that was Colosseum. The next ban came out of Xmen. That was Stasis, which leaves us with the only one left in the pool. It's going to be Truth Capture the Flag. This is Game 4, guys. Infused battling for survival to see out a game number 5. Remember, tweet the stream, use the hashtag HCS. This is some awesome European Halo action so far. It's just been great. I'm absolutely loving the fall season. I'm loving the teams. America's looking amazing. Europe's looking amazing. Just generally overall, the Halo Esports rink as a whole in the Championship Series, and even this music. Can we all just take a moment to appreciate this music?
I feel like I'm at an Ozzy Osbourne concert.
Jordan!
What was that?
I don't know. I don't think you're going to join in with me, boys. Come on. Help a brother.
I don't even know what it was. It sounded like you were having a stroke. Let's just commentate some Halo, please.
We're on board with Flux Dan, kicking things off here with Team Infused.
And I said Flux needs to just do one of these things at the start. He needs to make sure he gets an important kill, and he's doing exactly that. He's supporting Kimbo, making sure that he can get that camouflage. It is just chalky contesting, but Kimbo will finish him off, and he'll be rewarded with a camo. He almost walks into the splinter grenades, so he does well to survive here. But now he needs to get into a position where he can really use this camouflage, where he can support his team, and where he can make the most of this power up.
Fair enough, he's got this, but can we just point out, how many times generally do you survive grabbing the first camo?
And that's because Flux was there with him, right? Flux, they clearly said, look, both of us are going to push towards this camo, I will support you. And Xmen were more than happy to give it up. So they only sent one player in that direction. But now Kimbo can kind of run riot with this fuel rod and this camouflage, but he doesn't want to overextend too much and get caught out, but he's more than happy to clean up Anima there.
Yeah, Kimbo doing Kimbo things. We called it before. The kill will come in out of Chalky, I do believe. We actually 5'd him straight across the map there. You see Batchford swinging in with a sword, taking faces. Lunny will jump up and say, not today, my friend. Put that weapon down. Lunny's actually going to land on a landmine as he jumped down. Thrust to the left, though, and gives Flux the AR. Down he goes. Havoc's going to fall as well. All the weapons now falling back into the hands of Xmen.
Tell you what, very surprising that Xmen were actually able to survive that period of pressure there from Infused. Try saying that 5 times fast, boys. I will tell you now, though, all of that pressure basically came from Kimbo on the Infused side. He got the camouflage, he got the fuel rod. We've talked about him so much. Back when he was on Fab, he was able to roam around the base. He did basically just that in the first 2 minutes here against Xmen. Xmen, though, surviving the pressure, and now they're going to try and move the flag of their own.
And look at this collapse. We then just see Anima diving in, puts the pressure on, which allows his flag carrier to get the flag on the move. I actually think they got shut down on the way there. Unfortunately, in comes the Spartan tech charge. Batchford just wanging one in his face. Gonna whip that out so he can move just a little bit faster. Jumps up into the Eli, finds Chalky, says, you know what, we'll take you for dinner, my friend, as well. But he hasn't noticed the player to his left did try to thrust back for just a second, but unfortunately the damage had been done.
And that's Lunny once again. As soon as he knows his team is on the back foot, he's waiting in that basement. He's crouching with his assault rifle. He knows if he could just get one kill and give his team just the slightest bit of an advantage in this kind of team battle, they might be able to push out of the base. So credit to Lunny for just being that one player who's more than happy to sit back and defend the flag, because you do need that kind of player every now and then. You can't always be on the offensive. Sometimes you do need to defend as well.
This will be a big kill coming out of Batch if he can land it. He will pick up a double, which at least stops the oncoming assault. Still alive as well. I like that play. It was just a nuisance. Fair enough, he went down, but at least he went down in a good way. He managed to pull them back out of the base and stop another advancement. Havoc gets a green bullet straight to the jawline. Down he goes. And now we see Ramirez just looking for some players, but nobody's there at this moment in time. Just kind of camping down, waiting for anyone who wants to challenge him. He actually dives in, and then Flux just comes up with a storm rifle. See you later, Andy.
Now, Infused are not letting what happened against Vibe happen again. They were just kind of stuck in their base for pretty much the whole game, whereas this time they're being the aggressors. They're saying, we're going to make sure we push out, we're going to make sure we keep them in the base. And they have actually kept Xmen in their base for the majority of the game, but Xmen have just absorbed that pressure so well. It's actually the sword launch gets missed, but Lunny... What's happening?
This is insane!
Oh my god!
Batch comes in and saves the day, but what just happened?
We all lost our minds. Half the Halo universe just lost their minds.
If he'd have got that ninja, I'd just thrown my headset down and said, nope, I'm done. Flags are being moved, though. This is extremely scrappy. Can we see Chalky at least get the return? He cannot. Flux shuts him down. He's going to thrust that one in, and there we see it. Infused out of the most wildest thing we've probably ever seen here in the European Pro League. They will go 1-0 up.
Well, I said Lunny is that guy that kind of just stays under the base. Instead, he went offensive and he grabbed that flag, and whilst he did pull the flag and he had all that action with the sword, Infused ran it on the other side of the map. Chalky tried his best to return it, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And now, Xmen need to find their way back into this game.
Yeah, important part of the game right here as well. The fuel rod's just come up, and that camouflage coming up very, very soon as well. So I'm going to try and flick through some of the Infused players. I'm pretty sure they're the people who have the tower control at the moment. We see Havoc here on pick 2. If he can drop down and pick up that camouflage very, very soon, then Infused are going to be in a great position. And here we go. He's going back to pink 1. Is he?
We just saw all 3 members there of Xmen just got dropped down. Batch picks up the fuel. We're going to see Flux diving in just in front of him, and he's going to bag himself the camo as well. But look at his teammates. They're pushing in hard, which is actually going to give Batchford plenty of time just to walk up, get himself in a nice, really good great position. But he's been quite aggressive with this gun, but it doesn't matter. He goes in. He does get taken down. Whoever picks up that fuel rod, though, they're going to be in a great position to do some damage and probably win out this base battle.
I really think Infused studied their games from last week, and they really took a look at themselves and how they played Truth Capture the Flag, because it didn't work last week, but now what they're doing is exactly what happened against them. So it's fantastic to see that they have worked on a game type that they weren't looking particularly strong at, but actually they are looking the better team in this game. And I mean, they're only 1-0 up, though. That's what's scary, because I know how quickly Xmen can turn a map around.
I think Ramirez may have actually clipped the wall there, unfortunately doing damage to himself. Havoc says, yes, please, I'll take that free kill. Going to see Batch go diving out, unfortunately a little bit too aggressive. Lunny will shut him down and take that free kill. Now looking across the board, we see Ramirez backing up into the base. Kimbo's down bottom mid. He's actually going to jump and do the thrust straight up into the base. What? He actually just threw a tangerine, fed it to Ramirez and sat him down with that sword. What a play.
Peeled it and everything for him, just gave it to him on a plate. Great work from Kimbo, and now he is just looking to move on from this. But there is a nuisance, and it is Anima just sitting top mid and surviving, and Infused need to deal with him before they can even think about pushing out. But then the Xmen train starts a rolling. They're pushing through pink. They're going to want to start moving this a flag, and there we see it. Ramirez is now going to be supporting it here as well, but the flag is also out, I believe, for Infused too.
Well, it's safe to say he's got plenty of vitamin C inside him. Let's see what he can do with that one. He's actually going to get another one as well, but he does at least clean it up and answer back with a Storm Rifle. But look at that side. Look at where Kimbo is. He's actually in their base. He's moving the flag as well. He's moving it, and now he's just waiting. He's actually saying, okay, you're going to bring it home, lads. I'm here waiting for the collection. Happily deliver this one. I'll pick it up. I'll be the collection driver. No one's touching that. Flux comes in. They're going to get the return. They're going to get the capture. We're going to see Infused go 2-0 up.
Yeah, now Infused just need to carry on what they were doing. Don't change the tempo of the game. Don't just think, okay, we're 2-0. We can just sit back a little bit. Keep pushing on. Do exactly what you've been doing, because it's been working. You've been putting the pressure on. You've been making Xmen have the answers. Don't let that swing the tempo in their favor.
Unfortunately, Bat just misses that last shot. That would have been a fantastic double kill coming out from him. But you know what? Kimbo's got camo as well. He'll take that freezer kill on Ramirez. Just swipes and dices him down. Moving back to his own base. Just going to rotate around and over towards the pink side. Excuse me. Yeah, there's 2 members actually there. Harry, what are you seeing across the board, my friend?
It was a nice little rotation there from Kimbo. He wanted to make sure his own base was secure, but also wanted to make sure that he didn't be overly aggressive with this sword, because it's such a powerful weapon to have. He needs to make sure he's able to push in cleanly, make sure he doesn't give away the sword in the enemy base, because you can move the flag really quickly with that sword. And Kimbo, Batchford, and Havoc all down at the moment, which means it's up to Flux.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'd probably just like him to sit here and be annoying. There's 4:30 remaining on the clock. He doesn't have to, you know, just go YOLO and in and just try and warrior it out. 3 members are going to collapse on P. They're going to get locked into that side. Batchwood's coming off the spot. He's inside his own base. I like this play. Just wait for Ramirez to dive in. Ramirez does dive in. He's going to try and put the flag out, put the pressure on. But unfortunately, they're just getting collapsed on as they drop down there. Ramirez's tactic may have well worked here. Ramirez is coming off the spawn at Carbine side. Lunny's going to move the flag over towards him. He can pick that up, P side. I keep getting the wrong way around there. They're going to ground pound this one in. That's going to be them going 2-1 in the game.
That is the 3rd time in a row that Ramirez literally just dived on that flag, said, I just want to get it out of the base. We need to find a way back into the game. If it is me committing suicide just to get this flag on the move, just so you guys can get some kind of map control, then so be it. Xmen are back into into this one. It's how Infused are going to respond. Will they just collapse here, or will they just kind of push on and finally push in that third flag? Lenny needs to be careful here not to be taken out. Needs to wait for some support from his teammates before he makes any sort of move.
But once again, Ramirez actually made this possible. I'm quite surprised that he's left here. Oh, he landed behind him. That was extremely lucky because he only had 2 bullets pretty much in the AR. He didn't bother reloading it whatsoever. I'm surprised he challenged, managed to get lucky by spinning somehow around the guy. It was probably a false ninja, I want to call it. But look at this, the flag's on the move. We've got Flux over here hanging around at pink. He's got the fuel rod as well in hand. His teammate Havoc is there. We're going to see Anima running it across top mid, though. He does get shut down. The flag's on their 50-yard line. 2 people, though, will just bomb it and get the return.
The Infused, they're kind of starting to sit back now. You saw Flux was just more than happy to wait for that flag to be pulled. It's a very dangerous game to play. It can work, but you need to be careful because all Xmen are going to be doing now for the next 3 minutes is constantly dive bombing that base, pulling the flags, just making and begging the question from Infused, can you respond to these constant flag pulls?
But honestly, that's kind of that's a welcome pack for Infused. You know, I mean, they kind of you never want to sit back in this game. I don't want to say our best defense is going defensive. You really want to be aggressive and you really want to push on and put the pressure. But, you know, Infused can just welcome this. If you want to come and have a crack at this flag, feel free, my friends. Batchford's going to run this as well. And look at that. He went from the opposing side and moved to where he knew they were spawning. So he's moved across P. He's going to run this through P1. They're spawning down at Carbine 2. We're going to see Havoc in there, waiting for the delivery. And there it is, my friends. 3-1 is the final scoreline. Boys, we got a game 5.
We saw 2 differing sides there from Ramirez. The side that pays off, where he goes in, runs the flag, gets it out of the base, and it works out. And then the other side, where he pushes and just dies, pretty much gives up a death for his team, and it does not work out. So 2 contrasting sides from Ramirez there from that game. Great slays out of Kimbo, Flux, and Havoc. 22, 21, and 21 respectively. Batchford with the 2 caps as well. On the other side, Ramirez with 18 kills. I'm willing to bet a bucket load of deaths as well, because that's just what Rami does.
And credit to Infused, they did absorb that pressure. They did sit back for a little bit. They kind of noticed. They were like, yeah, all right, Xmen are starting to dive bomb a little bit. Let's just sit back. Let's get a few kills, and let's decide when we're going to push. And then you just saw suddenly there was this click, this change of momentum where Infused just pushed once again. Batchford steamed in. They had control. Havoc was getting some good kills as well. His aggression paid off, and they were able to get that 3rd kill. That was the craziest moment. I think all of us nearly lost our minds.
I'd have been, if he'd have got that
It was
ninja.
like watching a T-Rex trying to wash a car.
That is the worst analogy I've ever heard. At the same time,
I don't know if
imagine
that's the worst analogy or possibly
Or the
the best
best. Yeah,
analogy I've
definitely the
ever
best.
heard in my entire life.
Please don't dock my pay.
You guys will be happy to know in the background we are getting game 5 locked and loaded and kicked up and underway. We do know this is running ever so shortly late, so please excuse us and we do apologise for it. And we kind of saw the, I'll call that the false ninja there at the end. It all just went a little bit too wrong for him, but Game 5 alert. Tweet the stream. Use the hashtag HCS. This is awesome work. This is the first Game 5 of the fall season on stream. We didn't see one last week. There was one on Thursday, but now we've got one on stream. Dan, I want to start with you. Predictions for game number 5, please.
Okay, so Infused lost 50-27 against Fab on Plaza Slayer last week. They got really destroyed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep,
the business happened, but the same happened to them on Truth Capture the Flag last week. They've clearly looked at what happened. They've looked at their tactics and they've changed. Perhaps they've done the same for Plaza Slayer.
Just really quickly, Sneaky Walrus, my boy Connor, the Sims beard on point tonight. You know what, mate? I did it for you. This is trimmed in.
Don't believe his lies.
Don't believe his lies.
What about this
Thank you,
beard?
Connor. It is.
What about this?
No.
What? That's not a beard. That, my friends, is...
I'm sorry, Dan. Dan, look at
something-
me. I'm sorry.
That's just skin with felt tip on it. Anyway,
I've
Harry,
been growing this for 25 years. Thank you very much.
back to the predictions. Harry,
Yeah.
game number 5. Where do you see this one falling, fella?
Plaza Slayer. It's about as good a Game 5 Slayer as it could be, I think. I mean, you think about Plaza Slayer, it's kind of slow-paced. You know, there's a lot of waiting for power-ups, a lot of waiting for the next cycle of power weapons. It's going to be a fun one, man. If I had to put a pin on a team and say they're going to win, in my opinion, it would be the Xmen, because I don't think Infused have shown me enough just yet. They've looked wobbly in every single game where they've taken the lead. We saw on Truth Capture the Flag where Xmen almost came back. We saw on that Eden Strongholds where the reset happened and they completely just blew the lead that they had. I just don't believe in Infused just there. If they can win this game 5, then I'll become a believer, but for now, I'm sticking with Xmen.
All right then, guys. People in the chat, okay, where are you from? Team Beyond, Halo Reddit, Ready Up Live, Halo Waypoint. Tweet the stream. Use the hashtag. The Halo music is kicking in. We are locked. We are loaded. Game number 5. This is an important matchup for both teams. They are chasing down 3rd and 4th position here in the league and trying to stamp their face on the European 4 League in the summer season. Harry, who do you want to kick things off with, brother?
Honestly, I think it's got to be Flux from Infused. He was the man making the big plays in the game that they almost won on that Eden Strongholds. He's been the unsung hero for Infused, excuse me. I want to start this one off with Flux.
Let's see who grabs that first OS, then everyone bombing in. That's going to be Kimbo. Sticks that one in his back pocket, so I'll take that one, my friends. See you later. Drops down bottom mid. We see one player advancing down to S1. That's going to be Lunny. Batchford does die down at S1. Kimbo, though, steaming in with the OS. But look at where the sniper rifle is. Lunny's got it, and he is out of there.
Yeah, great work from Xmen. They completely disregarded the overshield. They said, we want the overshield, we want the sniper rifle instead of the overshield. They grabbed the sniper, and then they all backed off. They didn't let Kimbo do anything with that overshield. But now Lunny needs to be careful. He needs to get away. He needs support from his team. Because if that snipe goes down and goes into the hands of Infused, then all of that work, it just goes for nothing.
How does he do this? Crouches down. Look at this rotation. He's made it somehow. 2 people advanced onto him, and that was perfect from his teammate to push in, so he could just sneak by. He's now made it to 3 parts of the map. He started off at S1, then he went over to the glass. Now he's over here in Cafe, and this is all because his teammates help him out and allow him to get this perfect map movement.
Well, they just knew how important it was that he stayed alive, so we saw a couple of just sacrifices coming out of the X-Men, but Lunny needs to do something with this sniper, okay? Yes, he's staying alive, but he needs to get in a position where he can use it. He does tag Flux, but Flux won't go down unless he can communicate with his teammate.
Yeah, Lunny absolutely needs to do something, but his team need to let him do something. Look at the kill feed at the moment. We're seeing a lot of deaths out of Chalky, Ramirez, and Lunny's other teammate Anima as well. If they can just keep Lunny alive with this thing, just play it slow until that next power-up comes up, and then maybe they might have a shot of closing this 3-kill deficit.
I'm not too fond of this 3 people all kind of clumping up, clumping together here down on dip. They're just, excuse me, down on loop. They're kind of waiting for and kind of asking to be turned on and get boxed in.
I'll tell you what's very interesting here though is the fact that Lunny and the X-Men have actually completely given up Cafe control. So when this overshield comes up in the next 10 or so seconds, I think it's going to be Infused that will grab it unless X-Men can pull some kills out of the bag and get a little bit more advanced map control.
Look at that teamwork though. Flux comes out, Batchford survives. Now the sniper rifle's going to transfer over into the hands of Team Infused. This is where things could get really, really crispy and really dangerous for X-Men. They've kind of locked down this side of the map, and Lunny's not dead, and I'm not sure who that was. Lunny's moving. Unfortunately, Kimbo's shot. He's going to bag that second OS, but this time, Dan, it's going to be burnt.
It is important that it was burnt because that might have got a little bit out of control for the X-Men, and I said that perhaps Infused have kind of studied their last week's results, and it does look that way because last week, Infused was just constantly stuck in that yard. They weren't able to get out, but now they are playing the aggressors. They're making sure they push in whenever they can. They're not giving X-Men just the chance to breathe, to even think. And I do think that is when X-Men are dangerous, when you give them that chance to slow the game down, when you allow them to get a bit methodical about their play. You give the chance to Ramirez, one of the best captains in Europe, to decide those tactics, to make those calls.
All right, then. Things are starting to slow down a little bit. We're at... Ooh, he just puts the brakes on. Anima saw the oncoming, just the nest, I want to say, of Nidge just waiting for him. And now, is right. Oh, he actually tags him up. So he got the tag there. Looking to see if we see the assist medal coming up. Goes for the second one. One person will drop down to the hotel. Anima's going to be an easy kill here for Kimbo. Doesn't survive. They will clean him up. And honestly, if you're X-Men, Kimbo's got a sniper, is the first person you want to take down.
He definitely is, but sometimes having the sniper can kind of be a bad thing because it changes up your playstyle. You slow it down a little bit, you get on the defensive, and it was working for Infused when they were just pushing in and kind of not giving X-Men any space at all. But as I say that, Kimbo picks up that sniper again, gets a fantastic headshot, and makes it count. And is that 2 snipers they have now?
I think it is. Flux had a 2-bullet sniper, but what I was going to ask, boys, isn't Kimbo the record holder of the most top 5 clips from the European HCS? I'm pretty sure he has. has a load of clips, and he's showing his aim off right now. I mean, if he could hit this shot, it'd be absolutely magical. But it's 23-15 right now. The overshield's coming up in the next 20 or so seconds. If Kimbo can corral the sniper, get a little bit of map control for his team, make sure they rotate around towards these soda stairs, and make sure they can go to that overshield straight away, then maybe they have a chance of just taking this game 5.
So the nuisance person here is Ramirez. Okay, now he needs to get this kill and kind of just get him out of the cafe and clear a bit of room for him. You can see there, ANDY hiding above his head. Ramirez is the person that needs to go down, which he does. Now he's got control of cafe. Now he can patrol around like a predator and quite easily pick people off. He's got support. You know, you can see here now over at Yard, he's got Flux just hanging around there. They're going to bag themselves the OS. That's the 3rd OS now of the game. That's the 3rd time it's been, at least, and fair enough, it will burnt once, but in the hands of Team Infused. Xmen getting nothing so far. And now we just see Flux just diving in. He did have an OS, unfortunately, it was completely melted, I want to say. And Kimbo survives. How I'll never know, but I'm going to say it's absolutely 110% down to his teammates giving the recovering fire that he needs. But look at the scoreline. 7 minutes remaining on the clock, 30-17. What a mountain to climb here by the Xmen.
And Xmen are kind of just having to find themselves bottom mid, just trying to stay alive. That's where they've picked up 1 kill, but they're just in really unorthodox positions at the moment because they know they can't push out because of this sniper, and they're on the back foot and they need to be careful, but they need to make the decision of when they're going to go for that charge, because if they keep going in 1v1 and making these random pushes, they are just going to suffer and they will just slowly and surely lose this game.
Flux just punished Anima for missing that final shot there with the light rifle. Batch was going steamboating in and just diving in with a casual BR. Chalky's going to get cleaned up by Havoc. You can see there the little golden arrow comes in with the assist medal. Sniper rifles dropping in 25 seconds, hence they're all making the way around to S2. Grenade found some hit markers, so he's at least going to be aware of 2 players there. He's got one of them in front of him, one of them on the snipe ramp. Lunny's going to push in. Lunny's actually fantastic at, you know, just being able to avoid bullets. His map movement is incredible. He really uses the thrusters so well just to avoid you and be a complete nuisance. Batch does get taken down there. Lunny making good use of the movement to stay alive and call for some support. 37-22. Honestly, they can just trade kill for kill here. 6 minutes on the clock, and when you've got Kimbo just finding faces like that, this is not a good place right now for Xmen. They need to do something huge. Misses 2 shots. Finally, they've got control of that area. The sniper's hanging around posters. If they can just kind of lock it up now, they need to get Havoc out of here. They need to really kick Havoc out. Get the sniper, get set up, do some damage.
What Infused are doing well is they're just not slowing down. I mean, Xmen are trying to slow it down by getting in those defensive positions, trying to make those angles, trying to get that cross shot going on. But Infused are just not allowing it to happen. We saw Batchford charging in, and then Havoc came around the corner and cleaned up elsewhere. They just need to be careful, Infused, that they don't overdo it now. They're in a really commanding position where they can just trade 1-for-1 and win this game. I'm not sure if the overshield went into the hands of anyone there or whether it got burnt. If it did go into an Xmen member, it could have been the difference, but look at Ramirez. He ran in to try and get a kill, and he was greeted by 3 members, and it was Anima who did actually pick up the overshield here. This maybe could be their lifeline, but quite frankly, with only 8 kills needed for Infused, this is a tall scale, and actually, Anima just gets full-on destroyed.
Harry, 30-44. There's only 5 minutes left. 6 more kills for kind of Infused just to clear this one out. What are your thoughts, brother?
I just, at this point in time, really just can't believe the amount of free stuff that Infused were basically allowed to get. I mean, they've gotten so many overshields. They've had 2 snipers back-to-back. At one point, both Flux and Kimbo had a sniper, and Kimbo picked up the 3rd sniper of the map, pretty much uncontested as well. So I just, at this point in the game, can't believe how much free stuff Infused have been allowed to get, and I can't believe Xmen have allowed them to do it in a game 5.
Well, only 3 more kills, and they're going to see this one out, and at least, you know, I mean, I don't want to say that's all she wrote, but 1 more kill. Steaming in there with the SMG. Batchford, ladies and gentlemen, Infused will break the current loss as they will put one on the board for themselves. They are now, 1-2 in the European fall season. Amazing work from them. And my man, big boy Batch at the top there. 18 kills, 8 deaths, with 10 assists as well, I'll have you know. A nice positive 10 coming out of him. What a time to clutch up.
Yeah, it's certainly a time to clutch up in a Game 5. That's a big feather to his cap, especially with those 10 assists as well. So great stuff from him. We were on Kimbo's point of view quite a lot. 6 deaths from him, and that's just absolutely magical in a Game 5, especially in a Slayer. So good stuff from them. I imagine there was a rage quit on the Xmen side towards the end, but either way, Infused, they come out with a Game 5 win, and they're finally on the board in the Pro League. They are now tied, I'm pretty sure, in the league with Xmen, who they just defeated. Both teams now 1 and 2 in the league.
And I think you were right. You said Infused, they kind of started off, they played Vibe, they played Fab, and I mean, I was questioning, maybe are Infused the real deal? Are they going to be able to make finals again? But what they must have done, they played the 2 best teams, and then they've gone back over those VODs. They've looked at what they needed to change, and they've learned from the best. And now, if they are able to get to those finals, perhaps these lessons that they've learned from the top 2 teams, they might be able to use them to beat them if they are to face them again later on if they get finals.
There's no favoritism here at the desk. We call what we see. However, there does, after that unfortunate disconnect earlier on, at least there is that kind of positive end coming out of Team Infused. They're going to be happy with that one because Xmen did get a bit of a kind of a momentum swing coming back out of that one.